Hmm. All right, let's do this again, shall we? All right, this is the second time I'm recording this video. Laptop died. I know, I ignored the battery. Let's clean my eat this Pop Tart real quick. Mm. All right, so in short, now I'm beginning this is reading from Ecclesiastes, the book of Ecclesiastes, which the key word, excuse me, in this book was vanity, which is the futile emptiness of trying to be happy apart from God, right? And this story is being told from the preacher who was usually perceived as Solomon, the most influential king, most wealthy and richest and most influential king, who was also the wisest, right? And he's saying that from the human perspective, all things that are done under the sun, right, is all empty, it's meaningless. The power, the popularity, the prestige, the pleasure, nothing can fill that God's safe hole in your heart and your spirit except for God, right? So basically, he's talking in this book about how he has done everything there is to do as king, right? He's had all the money, he's had all the fame, the prestige. He's taken part in all the pleasure, right? And he's saying that it's all in vain. It is all useless. It just leaves you empty. No matter what that pleasure or what that fame and all those riches were, in this divine assignment that we've been given to live out God's word, right? The works that we have the obligation to exercise, right? He has sought out wisdom from his heart. And he's saying that as he's done all these things under the sun, right? All these works and taken part in all these pleasures and gotten all these riches, excuse me, it is all worthless. It's all empty. It has no substance to it. And he even says that, what's this? All is vanity and vexation of spirit. And it says that vexation is a grasping for the wind. So imagine just grabbing for like you can't. It's intangible. You can't touch it. You can feel it, but you cannot touch it. Right? That is your spirit, God's spirit, just flowing right past you because everything that you are doing is apart from it. That's why it is vanity. He says that which is crooked cannot be made straight. So that could be you or a lot of these individuals we see nowadays that give me whole power. I'm pretty sure we have a few people that come to mind, but the crooked cannot be made straight. Think about that. And it's not like one day we're just gonna have one of these individuals who have all this money, who is doing all these bad things, right? Alleged. They're not just gonna come on one day, hey, I'm a changed person. I believe in God now. I follow God now. Or I'm humble and I do things, I do these good things for people. No, it doesn't happen like that. It's not something overnight. Like they can be made straight because they have already done these things, right? And that can't be taken back. But it says that that which is wanting cannot be numbered. Wanting in this context is translated as lacking. So that which is lacking cannot be numbered. Meaning, how can you count something? How can you place a value on something that is non-existent? that isn't there, that you don't have. You can't. And then he's saying right after that that he has come to greatness, right? And he's gotten more wisdom than all that have come before him in Jerusalem, right? And he has great experience of wisdom and knowledge. And it's saying in doing all these things that, he's achieved and done under the sun, right? That he's realized that he's perceived that a lot of these things is also vexation of spirit, apart from God, apart from the spirit. So there's nothing to grasp at the end of the day. It's tangible. You can't. It's just going by because he has known madness of folly because of all the things he has already done and achieved. That is what he is perceived after all those things, after the madness, after the folly, right? And so he says that for in much wisdom is much grief. And before my computer had done, I was saying that in a lot of cases we have heard that the more knowledge one has, or the wiser one is, the less happy that they seem because they're so aware of the things that are going on in the world. You can't just be happy all the time, you know what I'm saying? Or just go about your everyday life without thinking about the things that are also happening at the same time that you may be having a good time. Someone else at the same time is having a way worse time, man. Something terrible, tragedies happening right now. And we could probably think of a few things that are happening as we speak that could ruin our whole mood. And that's where that why, you know what I'm saying, that wisdom and that knowledge come in because knowing those things do not make you happy at some, in some points in time. That's why they say ignorance is bliss because the things that you don't know can't taint your happiness, I suppose. You could say your joy. So he that increases knowledge increases sorrow. And then he says, I will prove thee with pleasure, right? Therefore enjoy your pleasure, right? Go ahead and indulge it, right? And behold that this is also vanity. This is the futile emptiness of trying to be happy apart from God. That man or woman that you just slept with right after, I bet you ain't, in that post nut clarity yet, man. What you think? Or right after drinking, you get a little too drunk and you wake up hungover the next morning or the next afternoon. You didn't enjoy it all that, but now how do you feel? That kind of emptiness. You don't feel good, right? So behold, this is also vanity. So he begins laughing and says, "It is mad, right? And of pleasure, what does it do? You done already did these things. You done already engaged in it, and now after the fact, what does it do? How does it leave you, right? How do you feel after the fact? You don't feel good, right? Nope. Because he says, I sought it in mine heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting my heart with wisdom, and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was good for the sons of men, which they should do under the heaven all the days of their life. Now he says, I've built great houses. You know what I'm saying? I have many houses now. I've planted vineyards, right? I made me gardens, orchids. I've planted trees and of all kinds of fruits. But he's had manservants and maidens. He has male singers and women singers. But and then he looked at all the works, right, that his hands have labored for, and behold, everything was vanity. Everything was futile and the futile emptiness of trying to live apart from God. Because you have all these things, but you're not incorporating God into any of this. Mm. There was no profit under the sun, right? It was all a vexation of spirit, grabbing for something, and to grab something that isn't there. Or maybe it is there, but you cannot interact with it. You cannot fully grab it and obtain it and keep it. I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. To behold wisdom and madness. For what can the man do that cometh after the king, even that which has been already done? So he's already done everything as king. So what can the next man do that he hasn't? Right? Because everything has already been done. You can't do anything new. And even before that, before all of this, right? Before he speaks about the wisdom, he says, "All things are full of labor; man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied when seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing." So the things that you want, right? You see it and you want it, right? And then you get it. Right after that, it is no longer really of any desire to. Now that you already have it, you kind of don't want it anymore. It's just sitting there. You're not using it. You're not happy that you have it no more. Like, okay, maybe for the first few days or two, or maybe even a few hours. After that, it's just sitting. You're bored, right? Nor the ear filled with hearing. So you want to hear something so bad, right? You want somebody to tell you this, right? And then you hear it, and then it's just like, well, dang, that's that's really it. Like you're not satisfied with it, right? Like dang, like what do I do now? The thing that has been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. Everything has already been done, right? Everything that has been will already be, and it will still be. So it says that, and there is no new thing under the sun. And is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? No. Everything you see around you has already been there, but way before you. It's just now cycling back. It's all just cycling, right? It's a lot of these fashion trends. Yeah, I mean, there's new clothes being made and all this, but think about some of these new fashion trends that come up, man. They were already popular back, what, early 2000s, maybe in the 90s. And now people are starting to wear them again, or these new hairstyles that people swear knew or that they discovered, or these new tips and tricks about things that, you know what I'm saying, that they think are new or that they discovered when it's really been, what, like 30 years ago. And it's not new. It's old, bro. It was already like that back then, bro. All you're doing is reintroducing it. All you're doing is bringing it to the modern time. It's not new. See, and it says, it hath been already of old time, which was before us. There's no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come, that shall come after. We don't remember the things that came before us because we weren't there. So now it may seem that it's new, but it's really not. We just weren't there to see it when it first originated. And so there may be things that even today that may be new, that in the future they may consider it still new because they weren't there to experience it today. Nothing was new. It has already been there. It's just now being introduced into a different time period. So let's go back to where I was, right? So I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, all was vanity, because there was no profit under the sun. He's already done everything there is to do. He's already had all that. I guess so a man could want, right? There was no fulfillment. There was emptiness, right? So I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. For what can the man do that cometh after the king? Nothing. Especially um, this is Solomon, who has already done everything, who's already done everything there is for a man to gain, achieve, and do. Then I saw that wisdom excelleth folly, as far as light excels darkness, because there's more fruit in wisdom than there is folly. Right? So when we think of folly, what is folly, right? Hmm. Let's see. So it says that folly is a lack of good sense, understanding, or foresight. So a lack of good sense, right? Wisdom excelleth that, as far as light excelleth darkness. So in a way, you can think of it as obviously, it's basically just comparing the wisdom and the folly to lightness and darkness clearly, right? With wisdom, your eyes are open. You know the things are going, you're aware of the things that are going on around you. You have that light shining on the things, you know what I'm saying? Now you see what is happening. You see what is in front of you. You see what is behind you. You see what is right beside you. Without that lack of good sense, understanding, or foresight, you're living in the dark. You don't know what is to come, right? You you don't know, I suppose, the consequences of this action. You're not aware of certain things as being in the dark. So it then says, the wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walketh in darkness. Because they're going on all willy nilly, right? They without any kind of understanding, good sense of foresight. So he said he perceiveth also that one event happiness to them all. Look, let's think of it like a canon event, bro. Canon events happen to all Spider-Man. So we all technically have our canon events, things that happen to everybody. A breakup, someone passes away, someone close to you, or you may lose a friend, right? Or you may move away and have to start over again, right? So all things that happen to someone else, right? Remember that God is what well, the rain falls on the good and the bad. You know what I'm saying? The good people and the bad people. Also, the sun shines on both ends. That's why the bad people still have their good days, and the good people still have their bad days. Why do good things happen to the bad people? Hmm. And why do bad things happen to good people? Well, so rain falls on them too. So I'm gonna end it off with this, right? Let's just a little bit more, right? He says, Then I said in my heart, as it happeneth to the fool, so it happeneth even to me. It's happened to you, so I'm already know it's gonna happen to me. Don't ever say something will never happen to me because it most likely would. And why was I then more wise after really realizing that? After saying that in my heart, I said in my heart, then I said in my heart that this also is vanity, for there is no remembrance of the wise more than of the fool forever. Seeing that which now is in the days to come shall be forgotten. So yeah, I may be wise in the moment but in foresight, technically, I am also the fool because I don't even know what's in front of me. Or maybe I'm just yapping, right? But let's read it one more time. Then I said in my heart, as it happens to the fool, so it happeneth even to me. And why was I then more wise? And I said in my heart, that is also that this is also vanity. This is also fuel to emptiness from trying to be happy apart from God. For there is no remembrance of the wise more than of the fool forever. The wise man and the fool, no one will remember the other, you know, more. You know what I'm saying? More than the other. Excuse me. You won't remember more than the other. You'll remember both equally. They will both be forgotten with time. So technically, being wise in that moment, maybe, you know what I'm saying, even if you're watching in this person who is in folly, that fool who has no good sense, understanding, or foresight. Just because you're wiser than him doesn't mean you'll be remembered, you know what I'm saying, will be remembered forever, or at least remembered more than that person. Seeing that which now is in the days to come shall also be forgotten. And how dieth the wise man? As the fool. The wise man is also the fool. And in the sense, the fool is also the wise. But the reason why he's still a fool is because he denies that wisdom. Wisdom is chasing him. He's just faster, right? And how dieth the wise man? As the fool. They die the same way. Eventually, they will both be forgotten with time. Just because he's wiser than that man does not mean that his legacy or his memories will live on longer than the fool's. Therefore, I hated life because the work that that is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me. For all is vanity and vexation. All is futility and grasping for the wind. Everything, even with knowing, you know what I'm saying, even with having this wisdom, it does not mean that I'm happy with God. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that I am with Him. So even after you've done all these things, even after being aware of all these things, it, it does not make you any less empty. Because obviously, the more you know, the less happy or the more sorrow you feel because the more you increase it in knowledge, the more you increase it in sorrow. It has to balance out, man. So yeah, I hated all my labor, which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the man that shall be after me. The same things I've done, the next person will do. It's not going to be anything new. It's not going to be anything special, right? And who knows whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yeah, he shall have rule over all my labors. So even if he's just as wise as me or wiser than me or even if he's dumber than me, you know what I'm saying? He lacks that good sense, understanding, of foresight. He will still attain the same things that I have. That all the things that I work for, he can gain because he works for it. Right? So when I have showed myself wise under the sun, this is also vanity. Because just because you're aware of it does not mean, you know what I'm saying, maybe just because you have good sense or you have some level of foresight understanding, right? It doesn't mean that your life will be any less vain, any less futile. So remember, right? Therefore I went about to cause my heart to despair of all the labor which I took on this son. So this is where God comes in, right? Because next page, I'm looking forward a little bit, right? Because it says, "Behold, that which I have seen, it is good and comely for one to eat and drink, and to enjoy the good of all his labor that is taken under the sun." Because this is a gift which God gives him. This is his portion of it, right? This is his portion of God's gift, right? Every man also to whom God has given riches and wealth have given him power to eat thereof. It is take his portion, right? But you also have to remember to rejoice in his labor because this is the gift of God. For he shall not remember the days of his life because God answereth him in the joy of his heart. He's keeping him busy. He's giving him all these different tasks. So living on all these labors that you've already done and all these things you have already accomplished. Okay, yeah, but you're not rejoicing in the fact that this is a gift from God because you were already living in all that pleasure and all those riches, all that confidence and prestige that you got. That was all vanity, bro. Doesn't matter. Look, yeah, you may be more wise than this guy, but even though that you've done all these things, but the fool right after you get the same stuff. But what is the difference between them? Right? Even if there's no difference, you have to rejoice in the slavery because it is the gift from God. You're getting your portion. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun. It is it's common among men. A man to whom God has given riches, wealth, and honor, so that he wanted nothing for his soul of all that he desired. Yet God gave him not power to eat thereof, but a stranger eateth it. This is vanity, and it is an evil disease. So let me slow it down. Hmm. So a man to whom God has given riches, wealth, and honor, that he wanted, right? Nothing for his soul of all that he desired. Nothing that he has desired has been for his soul, but rather for his body. All this portion of God's gift, he's taking it and just applying it to his physical. At least that's what I'm getting. But then yet God giveth him not power to eat thereof, but a stranger eateth it. So you see what God has given a stranger. He's getting his portion of God's gift, and this is where the envy comes in. Because you may desire what we have, because you don't have that. You don't have that what fills the soul. But in that stranger, it's fulfilling his soul, and he's rejoicing in God, right? Because this is his gift from God. But you want that, and that's an evil disease, especially among the rich folk. That's why they don't want us to gain anything allegedly. You know, I'm just speaking. But this is why people would. I can understand why people would say this. This is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Now, the rich may not desire anything besides the things that they already have. They're just getting more and more of it. even if it brings them no happiness or joy. They're taking it from the stranger because so they don't feel fulfilled from. They can't get the fulfillment and rejoicing, right? They can't live a fulfilling life in the Lord. God, that is that that evil sickness, that disease that's within the common man. They may not want the other person to be doing better than them. Think about it. Okay, and then this last one. If a man beget 100 children and live many years, so that the days of his years be many, and his soul will not be filled with good, and also that he have no burial, I say that an untimely birth is better than he, for he cometh in with vanity, right, and departeth in darkness. Because he has all these children, he's lived so many years, but his soul does not feel good, and goodness is God. Good is love, and love is God, right? So someone who is birth untimely, right? Hmm, is better than him because he cometh in with vanity. He nothing that he has, or he's just been living apart from God with all these things that of pleasure, providence, of prestige, riches, but he departed in darkness. He dies with no good in his soul or his heart. And so with that, I'm in it right there. But think about it. You may be striving for something that's so great in your eyes, or you know what I'm saying? So it's just let's say everything that you ever wanted, right? But if it's not good from the gift of God, right? If it's not for good for the soul and for those around you, for their souls, it is vanity. You're getting no fulfillment. If it's just that pleasure for that moment in time when you get that thing that you want, right? Just because you have those things, or maybe just because you're more intelligent or wise than the next person, bro, that doesn't mean anything. Because the next person can get the same stuff as you and even more. But then if you go and want that, bro, you're nothing. Hey, he's better off with it than you. So be sure that the things that you want, bro, the things that you work for, be sure to rejoice in that, be appreciative of it, spread it, do not keep it to yourself. Because what do you need a surplus amount for? Let's think about the supply and demand. The more supply, the more supply you have of something, the less people want it, the less value it has. But the less that you have, the more it is valued, the more that that is desired, right? And that's why you want what he has, because you see the fulfillment he's getting from that, and how he's rejoicing in that. But you have the same stuff, and even or maybe even more, but spiritually you have less. So that's why you envy that guy. So don't be happy with what you have, and be sure that you spread it to others, man. Be sure that you share. Do not be stingy. Rejoice in it, man. Rejoice that you're getting your portion of God's gift for you. Because the next person who may even be less knowledgeable than you can get the same thing and be happier than you. Even if you've done more. So do not live in vanity, do not live in vexation of spirit, chasing something that you can't obtain because the things that you've worked for, you haven't really been rejoicing in. You haven't been happy for it. You haven't been showing like gratefulness for it. But you're just stacking it up. You're just keeping a lot of this. You're just okay. Let me get more of that. Because what the eyes see, they're not satisfied with. Even after you get or what you hear, your ears will not be satisfied. Even after hearing it, because that's you're not taking the time to fully appreciate what's in there and keep moving forward. Keep moving forward because God wants to keep you busy, keep you doing good works. So if you're gonna keep gaining because of God what has for you, why are you keeping the things that you won't even remember that you have? Mm, understand? But let me get about it, man. It's your boy Low Key. Man, y'all stay prayed up, stay blessed, man. I can do all things to God that strengthens me. And devil up, love. I got it. One more. All right, y'all. Peace out.